Well, it's been a while since we've done this. You can't see me, but whatever. Welcome to JonesDylan874 Raw, episode 2. Man, after so long, we're doing another one of these. There's no one here right now, which is neat. Hopefully people will join me later. But in any event, so what are we going to do today? Well, we don't want to, bore people, so you know what? Let's go play in a social casino, shall we? Let's go play in a social casino. Yeah. We don't play in a social casino because why not? We're going to play a double down casino. We give you 1 million free chips when you sign up. Anyway, look. They have all these great slot machines, including some IGT games. So what would we... While I talk about stuff, right, anyway. How do you share Firefox? So we're just gonna, play some social casino games because why not? And maybe we'll watch the Olympics or something. The Olympics are on right now. The Winter Olympics anyway. We'll watch some Olympic action. We got some hockey. Right now, there's 2,318 We got some hockey on right now. So, what do we have some games for us to play? What are we going to start with? Y'all can give me suggestions on what games we want to play. I'll change the thing later. I think I want to keep it classic. We're going to play Double Diamond here. Boy, look at me. Just so we'll just play in the minimum bet, which is 10,000 credits. Hope we can get something huge. And maybe we'll listen to some music. Be live for maybe an hour or two. We'll go synth radio this time. Oh God, that was loud. What the fuck? My jail just turn off? My thing just turn off for no reason? Dude, what the frick? Oh God.
On the plane, going to Mexico, going to that nice Northwest.
Okay, that was so weird. Hey. The frick? Yeah, look at that.
Oh my God, what a chance! Hits the post. Flying open net there and somehow takes the UP inside.
Let's try that again. That was so weird. So how's everyone doing tonight? How's everyone doing today? Hope y'all are doing well. Oh man.
Takes a shot, goes off the leg of Macklin celebrating, and now Thomas Hurdle will bring it out for the Jets. He'll bump it down and go off for a change. Devontae is back to get it behind Jordan Phillips. The Canadians now doubling up the shots. Almost 27-15. Centering pass, looking for number 14. Paul Horvat is broken up by Czechia and played down the ice. Here's Palat in the neutral zone. Palat sends it in, blocked there by Sanheim. Is picked up down in his own corner by Seth Jarvis. Jarvis spins, takes a little bit of speed, gets it going through the neutral zone, dumps it down.
I skipped the info. So yeah, this is episode 2 of JonesDylan874 Raw. Hope everyone's doing well out there on this Wednesday. Might just go live for an hour. Just playing whatever. By the way, this is a social casino. We're not playing for real money, obviously. I'm just playing for chips. But yeah, I was bored. I wanted something to do. Actually, maybe we shouldn't do this. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Clear this out. I'm gonna just read some things. Anyway, who wants to see me listen to some? Who wants to see me read? I don't really got much to do, so I'm gonna read some game show garbage things. What do we want to do? What is this? Full Swing? Let's see what this is. Number 28, Full Swing, aka How the BBC and Jimmy Tarbuck Killed Golf. Yeah. BBC, May 1997, July 1997. I enjoy the sport of golf. Whether it's just hanging around with some friends in a 9-hole course, just shooting the breeze and the balls into the water, the trees, or the course manager's 1998 Ford Taurus. Or sometimes it's just to the driving range, trying to hit the long ball with the person that's picking up all the loose balls. Or maybe it's just watching Tiger Woods missing the cut at Quail Hollow, laughing all the while. It's a great sport. Sure, it can get boring at times, but that's all part of the game. But the BBC decided, hey, let's take this popular sport, confine it to a TV studio, and get an annoying Pratt to host the show. Thus, the viewing public were treated to the triple bogey of game shows that was Full Swing. Before I do anything, I gotta talk about the host. Seeing the gap in the teeth that Phil Mickelson can chip through means that it's the one, and thankfully only, Jimmy Tarbuck. Here's the supposed funny man on the buggy making jokes about his buggy going up to 45 where he lives at 74. Lame joke telling. He then continued to make jokes about the BBC and a supposed game show involved MPs called Pratt's Win Prizes. Then he makes cheap jokes about two superior hosts of Bruce Forsyth and Michael Parkinson. If you have to sink that low to get laughs, then that's just sad. These are Cindy's words, not mine. Cindy Seidelman did this. Or was it Jim Williams? Wait, Jim Williams is dead. But yeah, Cindy Seidelman, she ran a site called Game Show Garbage. And a video channel called Game Show Garbage, and then changed to Game Show Gumbo. I would suggest checking their channel out, Game Show Gumbo, as it's now called. Even though they don't do game show videos anymore, there's still a lot of good stuff to watch. But yeah. It doesn't get much better when his main hosting style is chiding the contestants that don't do well. I mean, the insults that he comes up with are really pathetic too, but more on that later. He then chats with the contestants and then the celebrity golfers that help out the contestants as well. More Tarbuck is in supply here as he tries desperately to be funny and ends up in the sand trap instead. This wouldn't be so bad, but it just drags on and on. It took Tarbuck 6 or so minutes to introduce the contestants, and 4 of those 6 was telling horrific jokes. Stuff so bad that it would get the QI siren if Stephen Fry had any say in the matter. But then he announces it's actually time it's time to actually play Full Swing in the first round entitled 3 for the T. Yes, with really cheap graphic and T-esque effect. Already it seems cheesy and a bore to watch, and we haven't even gotten to the actual game yet. The first round is the celebrity golfers playing the hole in one of those virtual reality golf simulators that people see at most golf course shops or at the mall when they're trying to sell people some new clubs. So already we're not getting golf, we're getting virtual reality golf. Kind of cheap, but then again, I doubt a full golf course to be able to stand Jimmy Tarbuck's jokes or mannerisms or anything like that. So they're stuck with this. The object is to try to get as close to the pin as you can get. 2 closest teams move on to the next round. In order to do this, the celebrities take one shot and hopefully avoid any bunkers or water hazards or hitting it out of bounds in certain cases. After that one shot, Tarbuck asks the mild-mannered contestants to pick an envelope. And the envelopes contain 2 general knowledge questions. Each correct answer moves the ball up about 45-55 yards. However, if the celebrity knocked it in the water or out of bounds, the first correct answer gets him out of said hazard. So it's not too terribly bad, it's just boring. Plus, it doesn't help that Tarby decides to crack wise every now and then, especially when one of the contestants admitted that he was a Manchester United fan. Afterwards, the celebs take one last shot to try and get close to the pin, and they get the final distance from their ball to the pin. The team that wound up in third was eliminated and then played Crazy Consolation. Yay, more crappy title screens. Oh, and want to know why it's crazy? Just look at how crazy the word crazy looks. If I want to see crazy, I'll watch an episode of Funhouse. Ooh, burned! That wasn't funny. Man, did Pat Sharp have some great hair back in the day. But back to Mr. Gaptooth and his friends. The crazy consolation is the contestant putting a ball from a range that a 4-year-old can make, and if he makes it, he gets 150 pounds. I'm not stewing over this, but it's cool that third place gets something worthwhile. I mean, it could be worse. You could have been given a golf bag that had Full Swing on it instead of Full Swing balls, which is what some other shows would have done. Anyways, next up is Fairway or Foul. Still with a crappy title screen and cheesy pun. In this round, the contestant actually gets to play golf. Well, putt-putt golf, but golf nevertheless. This round starts off with a contestant being asked a true-false question. If the contestant is right, then the celebrity can chip to what they called the hazard green, which is filled with stuff you might see in a golf course, like ponds, bunkers, and bunny holes. Bunny holes? If we poured boiling water down there, we'd have hot-cross bunnies. Thank you, Hi. Okay. Forgot, High Rollers had a monkey. The 1988 version, or the 87 version, had a monkey, and that's a facepalm. The monkey's doing a facepalm. Hi, the monkey's doing a facepalm. Nice. Oh, I forgot one other thing. The hole only counts if it's lit up. If it's not lit, the ball will come flying out with a humorous noise as well. Well, humorous is a stretch. Another thing is that if the celebrity chips it into a hazard, the contestant must answer a visual question, which usually is which one of these 3 isn't a brother, or which one had a single in the 80s, or something like that. They had to do all of this in 90 seconds. The team that completed the game with the most amount of time remaining won. The other team got to take part in another form of crazy consolation entitled Celebrity Consolation. And if you're expecting something different, nope. Except they replaced crazy for a fancy celebrity. In this segment, the celebrity puts the ball from the top of the stage in hopes of getting a hole-in-one. If they do, it's 500 pounds, which is a good consolation prize. The further away the ball is to the hole, the less consolation the contestant gets. While this might seem okay, it really is not. At least the first consolation game was done by the contestant. In this case, the celebrity can get the contestant less than what the person in third place got, or the same amount depending on the putt. The third place contestant could get 150 quid, whereas a bad putt by the celebrity can only net the second place contestant 100 quid. I mean, where's the logic in that? In normal golf, second place always gets paid more than third place, no matter how bad they screw up the 18th hole. After all that, it's time for one more crappy graphic and the final green. There's the crappy graphic, and thankfully it's the last one. The final green is made up of two parts. First part has Tarbuck asking the contestant 4 general knowledge questions. Each correct answer gives a celebrity 10 seconds to complete their end of the bonus round, so it's harmless. Then the contestant pulls a golf ball out of a hopper named Archie. Don't do it, Tarby, don't do it. It's got a load of balls, that's why it's called Archie. You'll get paid extra high, thank you. The balls are numbered 10 to 60. That equates to how many additional seconds will be added to celebrity's time. And what does the celebrity have to do? The celebrity has to try and put 10 balls. The celebrity has to try to put 10 balls into the hole. Each one longer than the last in the amount of time earned. Each hole is worth 100 quid. If the celebrity gets all 10 in the hole, the celebrity wins 1,000 pounds for his charity, and the contestant wins a dream vacation, or so I'm told. So it's a pretty interesting concept for an endgame in theory. Unfortunately, though, you can get stuck with a celebrity who can't putt for crap, and still you can end up with less than what the second place can earn. Or what the second place contestant could earn. Yeah. The payouts on the show aren't really that cohesive. The payouts need to be more streamlined, or better yet, give second place something like a half set of golf clubs, like some woods or something to that effect. Third place can get something golf-related, such as golfing lessons or maybe a golfing wardrobe. First place can go for the cash and the trip. Thankfully, that's the end of the show. The concept isn't that bad, that I will grant them. However, the execution here is really lackluster. I mean, when I want to see golf, I will turn on CBS or ESPN to see golf. However, it doesn't translate well to a game show format. What makes this even more disheartening is that the same production company that did this show also created the hugely popular UK billiards game show Big Break. But when it comes to Full Swing, they did almost everything wrong in the first 18 or so minutes. It's not helped when Jimmy Tarbuck would rather crack horrific jokes than host the show the way it should be hosted. Plus, he's too loud for a golf show. You need someone with a mellow voice to do this sort of show, who would actually rather try to get the show over than his own lame brand of comedy, I guess. Unfortunately, no UK name comes to me at this point. Either way, it didn't become that big of a hit with viewers and only lasted one series. I guess they were bored of Tarbuck's humor in the show as I was. Yeah. So that was interesting. Oh, Wheel of Fortune's worst solves. This should be fun. Alright. Number 37, Will's Worst Solves, Part 1. An exercise of stupidity over the years. Compilation induction. Since January of 1975, Wheel of Fortune has graced our airwaves on 2 major networks in daytime and in syndication. Since then, they've given away countless millions of dollars in cash prizes and ceramic Dalmatians that nobody seems to want unless they had to buy it. People have been drawn in for years, whether it's been the millions given away or the sex appeal of Vanna White or just waiting for what we're going to be covering today. It's time to talk about some of the worst puzzle solves in the show's history. I think it's time to start at the humble beginnings, where the first round had a top dollar value of $500. The puzzle board only had 3 lines, and there was shopping galore after each round. I think it's time to meet our first worst solver. His name is Gary Silvers. Or Jerry Silvers, whatever. We don't know what he does, but that's okay. That often happened in the early episodes because he took about 4 to 5 commercial breaks in the span of 30 minutes. Now, he was already in a bad spot because his first turn came up bankrupt, so he was behind the 8 ball already. He got even farther behind the 8 ball when it was his turn again with this puzzle. He called a tee, and that had already been called, as pointed out by the puzzle turner at the time, Susan Stafford. Now, that can easily be shrugged off because that's happened so many times in the show's history that it happens to the best of them. Later on, he finally gets control back from his 2 opponents, and he manages to rack up $350 with the puzzle looking like this now. Okay. He doesn't go for a bow, but instead goes for the solve and says, kill the vampire. With the audible groans immediately after he said that, he knew that he made a colossal mistake. I mean, unless they say it with only 6 letters in Massachusetts, and law, misspelled Massachusetts, from where he was from. No, just kidding. Vampire has 7 letters, and there are only 6 spaces in the last word. So needless to say that he made a gigantic error. Looking back, it's a bad solve, not the worst though. But now you know what we're going for. So now let's go to 1983, where the daytime version is having a special couples week on Wheel of Fortune, where we meet our next 2 dim bulbs. Here are Bill and Kathy D'Agostino. Yeah. At that time, a married couple for the past 5 years. They seem like a bright couple of 2 kids, Bill being a big-time manager at a huge phone company, AT&T, and they enjoy playing with the kids and also softball. Needless to say, this pair of lovebirds did good in their lives. On the show, they did just as well as one could hope, racking up $33.75 in the first round alone. They wound up winning the day with $47.25, $4,725, and decided to play the bonus game for big screen TV. I guess since the lady got the pick of the prizes in the main game, the gentleman gets the pick at the end game. Nice. So with a big screen TV on the line, they see this puzzle and call it the usual suspects of RSTLNE. Yeah, the usual suspects, RSTLN and E. Pat remarks that they should just give it to them because those are some good picks, leaving the puzzle with this remaining. Yeah, if they don't get this, then they are in big trouble. So what happens? Well, this is game show garbage. Well, if you've been reading this website, you know what happens. They don't get it? Yeah, I kind of knew. They say too secret, T secret, the secret among others, and completely blow it. Top secret was it, as Bill quips. Oh, that was so easy, right after he and his wife blows a very easy bonus puzzle. I don't know if they came back for the Friday finals, but there you go. I think we spent enough time in NBC land, and we should go into the land of syndication and go to a more current horrible solve with this guy. His name is Edgar. I don't know much else about him, mainly because I was probably watching something else when this was airing. But anyways, he was doing okay, and it was time for the $3,000 toss-up. Up came the puzzle, and a few letters popped up. He then proceeded to buzz in and say, "Fish love." Wow. I don't know how that would come about unless you were watching an episode of Jerry Springer's Spring Break. I watch way too much daytime TV. Yeah, no kidding, Cindy. Needless to say that he made a gigantic error there. His opponent Jenny got the puzzle wish list and got the $3,000, whereas Edgar, as Pat put it, has something that he'll be known for the rest of his life. But Edgar had to experience a little pain to get a little pleasure. He won the game with $12,800 and saw this puzzle. With the RSTLNE given, he only got the T. However, he proved here that fish love was just an aberration and picked the right letters and won $30,000 by nailing civic duty. So in total, he won $42,800. And because Will thought he would be such a good sport, fish love was displayed prominently on the puzzle board. Good nature ribbing for a good natured guy who made a good natured blunder. And now it's time for what may be the biggest Wheel of Fortune missolve ever. Oh yeah, this guy. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you Joseph Cardone, or whatever. He's a bartender in Ridgefield, New Jersey, and is probably more well known for what we're going into than he would like to remember. Heading into round 4, he's trailing Chandra by $1,800. He is $3,100 to her $4,900, and their other opponent has a goose egg. So now on round 4, and with not much time, Pat gives Will a final spin and gets $1,600 for each consonant. Oh yeah, this is from 1999, and that's the first year they added the rule of adding $1,000 to whatever the wheel lands on in the final spin. So yeah, so it's $1,600 for each consonant. After some time, Joseph makes his declaration of P. And the rest, I think, is best for the audio to lead us to the rest of it. I'll have the actual text beneath the picture for the hearing impaired. So click here for the audio, and away we go.
People, your time starts now. A group of pill pushers? Good night, everyone. Thank you. This is Wheel of Fortune, Joe.
There we go. Thus, one of the most memorable blunders in game show history was born. And this is when Wheel of Fortune's contestant poll was somewhat sane. I could go with the obvious stupidity and saying that it could never be a group of pill pushers because there was only one P on the board. But then again, with the bright lights and maybe his lack of clarity at that time, he'll forever be known as the guy who made Pat inevitably lose it, no matter how many times Raymond tried back in 1993. Well, it's just part one. Lord knows there's so many bad souls out there and stupid contestants to make fun of that I could do a whole year's worth of bad Wheel of Fortune souls. But like a good workout, pacing yourself is the best way to get the job done. Very true. Let's go to part two. Is there a part two? Oh, right. Attack of the Zeroers. This is everyone who, a compilation of people who left with nothing on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Let's watch this. Let's read this. Although I've fallen out of love with Millionaire over the years, well, mainly because of the horror changes they made to the show over the past couple of years and the fact that I hate Meredith Vieira as a host, I still recognize that the humongous success of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire has spawned many memorable moments. Most recently, they ditched Phone a Friend because, according to them, they wanted to protect the integrity of the game. While that's understandable, it also kills the second to last remnant of the old show, that last one being Ask the Audience. However, many memorable moments that have been brought to everybody's attention is those that fail so spectacularly that they are deserving of mocking. I'm, of course, talking about those that don't win any money whatsoever. If I'm going to do a compilation of some of the losers on Millionaire, I need to start with the first $0 winner of all time, Robbie Roseman. Robbie Roseman came to the hot seat on August 1999, so when the show first started. He came to New York from Chicago, Illinois, and said he was wearing his lucky shorts to help him win some money. I'm not one that usually buys into the luck of underwear, but if it works for him, the more power to him. He then sees his first question. Hannibal crossed the Alps using what animals? Rhinoceri, elephants, llamas, chihuahuas. I thought this was a really easy question and that Hannibal crossed the Alps with elephants mainly because of their height. This was the sort of question that is answered on Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? But alas, Robbie is struggling and uses the 50-50 to wholly not go out in the first question. It then leaves elephants and llamas. He locks in llamas. But unfortunately, elephants was the right answer, and Robbie Roseman goes out on the first question. Regis promptly tells him to burn those lucky shorts, and he exits stage right. Because of this, anybody that flames out on the first question on any game show, llamas out in honor of Robbie Roseman. Now, he's not the only person to have llamaed out on Millionaire, as a matter of fact. There have been quite a few people that have llamaed out on the show. Another one that has llamaed out is this gentleman, Brian Federa. He came onto the show in January of 2000, the show after Dan Blonsky won the million. However, the past couple of contestants missed higher questions, and they were in desperate need of a big winner. Brian hoped to be that guy. Regis somewhat complained about the fact that he was better dressed, but that's okay. His first question is as follows. According to the nursery rhyme, what did little Jack Horner pull from a pie? Ribbon, plum, blackbird, little Joe Horner. Although little Joe Horner gave me a laugh, I knew that he stuck his phone and pulled out a plum and said, "What a good boy I am." Brian thought differently and was thinking of a different nursery rhyme and said that he pulled out a blackbird. And after some thought, locked it in as his final answer. Unfortunately, that was his final answer. I'm shocked that he didn't know this one. He was sent on his merry way with a shame that only a blackbird can bring. Now, this brings the end to some of the miscues on the Regis Philbin version. Time to check out the Meredith Vieira version, and who better to start with than this guy? Oh, yeah, it's this one. Chase Sampson. I have actually seen the video of this many times, as a lot of people have on YouTube. Chase Sampson was a college student from Nashville, Tennessee. He is a college student and openly stated that he hasn't slept a wink and is running on coffee. So we're in for some serious sleep-deprived stupidity. With that said, let's dive right in. Homeowners buy surge protectors to protect their possessions from unexpected surges of what? Electric current, water flow, air pressure, buyer's remorse. Oh, man. Yeah. Now, remember what I said about Little Jack Horner and Hannibal? This is easier than that. Surge protectors are what you plug into your wall. Surge protectors are what you plug into your wall. So it's electrical current. Well, electric current. So what did our sleep-deprived college students say? Water flow? Seriously? Water flow? Dear God. Since when have you heard of a surge of water coming through? It's a surge of electricity or surge soda. Water comes through in gushes or waves, not surges. He leaves with nothing and about 5 million hits on YouTube of his stupidity. Now, normally I don't have anything on here that's recent in the fact that it's the current TV season, but I just saw this on YouTube and it's quite bad. But she has one of the best names I've seen in ages. Her name is Lovey You. She has that name because her brother couldn't say lovely right and just said Lovey. So that's how she got her name. But she didn't even give us what she does or anything else but that story on how she got her name. She did mention a name for herself when this question pops up first. By the way, this was during the clock format. Because they wanted to speed the game up. This is during the clock format. Oh God, not the clock format. I didn't like it. You take away one of the aspects of watching Millionaires, watching people take a long time to try and think up the answer to the questions. Now you force them to answer quickly. It takes away that. You force them to give an answer quickly or risk losing the game. I think if time ran out, it was considered a walk away. They also did this in the UK and a few other countries, the clock format. In the UK, if time ran out, it was a wrong answer. But there, you had 30 seconds for the first 2 questions, and I think 45 seconds for the next 5 questions. No, I think it was 15 seconds for the first 2 questions and 30 seconds for the next 5, and then there was no time limit for the final 5 questions. I could be wrong, but yeah, I think that's how it goes. Anyway, back to what we were doing. When attacked by predators, which of these animals will often activate a large gland known as an ink sac? Well, knowing my Super Mario Brothers lore like I do, a blooper squirts ink and so does a squid. The answers were cheetah, squid, owl, Paris Hilton. Yeah. I don't know what gland Paris Hilton activates when attacked by predators, but she attacks us with horrible singing and even more horrible movies. But under the pressure of clock, she blurts out, "I'll see final answer." Whoops. Guess she isn't loved anymore. At least by Meredith, anyways. It was squid, and now there's no ink on a check for her to cash. Well, this ends this look at some of the zero errors that the show has had. And as long as this show is on the air, I'm certain we'll have more zero errors on Millionaire, even if we don't mean it. Oh God, Card Sharks 01. That was horrible. There's more things. Bad Prices Right bids. More zero errors. I can do a couple more if you want. I'm kind of bored anyway. Let's go Attack of the Zeros Part 2. Return of the Llama Mamas. Compilation production. Has it been 11 and a half years since Millionaire invaded our TV sets? Wow. I'd like to think we've seen over 3,000 or so people try their luck on the hot seat or standing center stage behind the hot desk, answering multiple choice questions for tons of cash. More often than not, people win large amounts on the show. However, we're here to honor those that blew it on easy questions and won nothing. That's right, it's the second installment of Attack of the Zero Heirs. Now let's kick things off with a guy who I absolutely forgot about when doing this originally. His name is Paul Weir-Dom. He's from Portland, Oregon, and he and his wife are former attorneys who left their jobs to just do a bunch of traveling. A noble idea at the time. I mean, while being a lawyer might bring in humongous paychecks, it's also quite draining. So he's on the show to maybe do more traveling. Maybe do some more traveling. His first question reads as follows. Which of these phrases is a common way of saying, I can't take it anymore? A, that's the last stick. B, that's the last leave. C, that's the last straw. D, I'm moving to Canada. Well, there's much to be said about the state of affairs in the United States, where you see many people wanting to move to Canada. But this isn't about political affairs or financial affairs. It's about this traveler who decides to speak before he thinks, and others. A, that's the last stick, final answer. Yeah, I don't know if that's the case in Zanzibar or Madagascar, but he's the traveler, so he'd know. But here in the good old USA, that's what we call an epic fail. That's the last straw, not the last stick, but it was the last stick for him, as that's what he leaves with. Well, he had to pick it up outside. Anyways, now with that taken care of, it's time to move on with our parade of patheticness with a royal tinge to it. Her name is Phyllis Stracka, from Kettering, Ohio. She seems like a nice, bright lady, very book smart and well-read, so I think she could do well here. She does prove that right as she nails the first three without any problem. Then she runs into this one. Which of these performers adopted the title Sir without ever having been knighted in England? Sir Elton John, Sir Mix-a-Lot, Sir Mick Jagger, Sir Paul McCartney. Well, seeing how three of these guys are from England and the other one is from the royal city of Seattle, it seemed like a slam dunk that she would have said B. I guess I was wrong. I'm guessing she thought that Mick Jagger was never knighted, so there you go. But unfortunately, she was proven wrong as she is exiled from the Chamber of Knowledge that is the Millionaire soundstage without even a tinge of gold bars, or even a CD of all these guys collaborating on a song called Candle in the Wind Got Back in the Streets Once Upon a Long Ago. Hey, I paid you to do that to other people's bad jokes, not mine. Anyway, let's take a trip to the 10th anniversary special and meet our next inductee. Her name is Ellen Gaines. She is a gym teacher, and she seems like a smart lady, and she appeared to be on night 6. She went into the hot seat and breezed through her first 4 questions. She gets to the $1,000 question and sees this under the category of crossword clues. In the New York Times Election Day crossword puzzle, which of these answers had the clue blue state and not red state? Melancholy, communism, outrage, insolvency. I mean, it's easy to figure out as communism was red menace, angry equals red, and insolvency is red something. Maybe it had to do with Red Sonia. I don't know. Anyways, having to deal with being melancholy every day and taking medications for it, I know it's A. Well, I guess this is what they mean. By those that can't do teach, and those that can't teach can teach gym. So when she said she locked in communism, Regis quickly dismissed her from his classroom and she gets sent to the bench where the smelly towels are. Now, seeing how this is a game show website, I think having someone blow a really easy game show question would be worth having on here. So let me introduce you to the 4th and final inductee in this year's Attack of the Zero Heirs. Her name is Kathy Hempel. She is from Arlington Heights, Illinois, and I don't have much information aside from that. Now, being on a game show, she should know some basic game show questions like this one. On the game show Wheel of Fortune, how much does it cost to buy a vowel? $50, $100, $250, $500. What, do you think I was born not watching Wheel of Fortune growing up? $250. Well, it's been the same amount since 75. So if you've seen at least one episode of Wheel of Fortune, which she has said she has when she returned on the Loser Show, she should have gotten this one right. On second thought, she went with her gut instead of her head. Now, to be fair, on Bob Gowen's version, vowels were $100, but that was when they had $50 and $75 pieces on the wheel. But I doubt the writers were thinking of that. And I was right. She leaves with a bankrupt. But there is a happier ending than the last one. She was invited back during a special $0 Winners Week, and how did she do? Pretty good. She won $250,000. I'd say she had a happy ending, and thus she can now afford to buy 1,000 vowels. Or, if going by our logic earlier, 2,500 vowels. We'll have more dumb zero errors in the future, and that's our final answer on that subject. Okay. Now let's go to this. I want to go to this now. Card Sharks 2001. Lower? Can't get much lower than this. Oh, Georgie wants to leave. Oh God, Card Sharks 2001. It's not uncommon to see revivals of classic game shows every now and then. I mean, sometimes it can turn out really good, like the revival of The Price is Right in 72 and 1972 and Seal of the Century in 1983. What they did is they took what worked in the original version and made it better. Then there are other revivals that take what worked in the older show and tweak it a bit, and it works for the better or worse, such as the 1987 version of High Rollers, where they added mini games and slowed down the show to a crawl. But then there are those shows that take what worked on the old show and throw that out the window. The most recent example of this was Temptation, the new Sale of the Century, where the only thing that was reminiscent of the old show was the instant bargains. The rest was a horrible mishmash of Wipeout, Wheel of Fortune, and generic speedruns. Don't worry, dear readers, that show will get its day on here in the future. But Card Sharks in 2001 took everything that worked in the older versions and set them ablaze. George is here. Hello. I'm just reading some inductions from game show garbage here. I'm doing Card Sharks 01. That god-awful version. I should get started about the host, Pat Bullard. He had a talk show in 1996, where pretty much everybody had a talk show. Before hosting this, he did hold everything. Sorry, I'm just eating some Wendy's. All right. Yeah, he did hold everything, which I've never heard of or could find anything on Wikipedia, and the 1998. All right. And the 1998 version of Love Connection, where he proved that he might be a writer and a comedian. He blows as a game show host. He's really smarmy and doesn't care about the contestants. He's there to make jokes and just read from the prompter. So in short, he's there just for the check. Ugh. He then introduces the dealer and Tammy Anderson, i.e. someone I've never heard of at the time, mainly because I never watched an episode of The Real World or any of those bad MTV shows that involved people hanging out in a house or RV, getting drunk every 10 minutes and sleeping with each other. My bet is that she was on this show to forget that she slept with half of the house. I'll say this, if that's your only claim to fame, then you need to go away and just find a regular job. Nobody above the age of 24 cares about that show. Oh yeah, and I'll just speed through this because I can't take this anymore. Yeah, format, absolute worst. Now, old version had 2 rows of 5 cards played with 2 decks, one red and one blue. This version only has 1 row of 7 cards. which is lazy. And it's even lazier. They do a high card draw to determine who got control off stage. Why couldn't they have gone out and asked several people a simple survey question like the old show? All right, this was produced by Pearson. They screwed up Family Feud, a match game earlier. But, yeah. Yeah, Family Feud came back in 99 with Louis Anderson. And then the Anderson left, and then we had Richard Karn. And it took one season because Richard Karn's first season still had the Anderson rules, where most points won the game. 4 rounds were played. Team Family who had the most points won the game. In the triple points round, there was only 1 strike before the other team could steal. Any wrong answer gave the other family a chance to steal. And then, but when the second season of Richard Karn premiered, it went back to the tried and true format of 100 people surveyed, try to get the top answers on the board, try to get the most popular answer, and 300 points won the game. Yeah, so it's back to the regular format, which is, I guess, the format which is still used to this day of 4 rounds, 2 single rounds, a double round, a triple round, and if no team reaches 300 points, they go to sudden death, with the top answer being worth triple to decide the winner. And then you go to fast money to try to win $20,000. Oh, but it gets much worse. Yeah. Instead of being able to simply freeze or pass the play and then change the card later, you have to use freaking clip chips to change the card. You have to watch the situation unfold and predict if one scenario happens or not. It's bullshit. Oh, and of course, you get to the last card, and there's the problem of, since there's only 1 row of cards, it's possible for someone to get to the last card, get it wrong, and then your opponent can win without even having to do a damn thing. Again, I have to point out, you can get to the last card, get it wrong, then your opponent gets it right, and he wins, and he didn't have to do anything. That's another reason why you need to have 2 rows of cards. Or to have your opponent actually earn a win, like in Hollywood Squares. Like, you know, if the player's going for a block, if the contestant's going for a block and they miss a question, the other player does not get the square they need to win automatically. They have to earn it themselves to keep it fair. Unfortunately, Match Game Hollywood Squares Hour got rid of that rule because of time constraints. Why did they do that? I remember seeing one episode where one person missed a card early on and went to the money cards because the opponent missed the last card. Yeah. By the way, this set here would be reused for Whammy the All New Press Your Luck. So at least something good came out of this bad show, at least. Yeah, nobody turns cards over. It's done via pressing a button. Yeah, someone's too lazy to pick up the cards, so they just drop it aside and, well, if you had another unneeded sound effect. Anyways, they play best 2 out of 3, which is how it was in the original series. Then we get 2 new players out and repeat the horror. Yeah, and then finally, 2 winners play 1 last game of card go piece to determine who plays money cards. The winner gets $2,100, but guess what? The $2,100 you won in the main game, it's not yours to keep like in the original game where the $200 you won was yours to keep regardless of how you did in the money cards. Yeah. Winner of that moves on. Winner of that gets $2,100 and moves on to the money cards. So at least they have good money to take home. Wrong. So at least they have some good money to take home with, right? So at least they have some good money to take home, right? Wrong. Yeah. Apparently they decided, yeah, that $2,100 you won in the main game is not yours to keep. That instead becomes your starting. Yeah, the $2,100 you had you thought you had one, got split up and transformed into a bastardized version of the money cards. Apparently now looking like the money pyramid done by the same high school shop class that did the front gate board. What do they pay the students in? Extra credit. The rules are like the old version, but come on, guys, at least have that third card in the second row. Yeah. And once again, Pat proves he's one of the laziest hosts in the history of genre. He doesn't even put the cards himself. Tammy does all the work, and Pat does all the talking. But at least Lazier won over $27,000, suffering through this monstrosity of a game show. Yeah, it's one of the worst revivals in history. No shit, Sherlock. No crud, Sherlock, sorry. I shouldn't be cursing, but whatever. I will do more than call it. Here's Attack of the Zero Hours, Part 3. Let's go quickly through this. Oh yeah, Kevin Nealon. Oh yeah, this moment where Kevin Nealon missed his own fastest finger question. And now this. Which of the following is a famous French cooking school? Moulin Rouge, Eiffel Tower, Cordon Bleu, Chicken a la King. The Cordon Bleu. Gotta be it. He went with freaking Moulin Rouge. Why? And mistakenly, Regis said that he went down to $200. Went back down to $200. He did become the sixth person in show's history to leave with nothing. He would return for the $0 winner special next year, but unfortunately for him, he didn't get out of the ring of fire. Yeah. Okay. And clock format. Gets a $500 question quickly, but then gets to a $1,000 question. And many more. Is a line commonly sung at the end of what traditional ditty? Old MacDonald, jolly good fellow, happy birthday, home on the range. What, do you think I'm an idiot? It's happy birthday. Jolly good fellow. You thought jolly good fellow ended with that? Bruh. Okay, last person to the 7-0 errors. Chris Mazza. First question is slightly inebriated. Is a common definition for which of these words? Milky, watery, beery, jello shotty. Okay, it's simply another version of which one of these words is A, a real word, and B, contains alcohol. Now, a major reason why everyone doesn't like the clock format, why people don't like the clock format, it doesn't allow for someone to figure out the question, but forces them to make rash decisions. Like this one. He would have asked the audience for someone to help him out, but since the clock cuts down on pretty much everything, he's forced to select something. But if he had to select something, he should know that beer is an alcoholic drink. But instead, either his nerves or the clock got the better of him, and now we have back-to-back $0 winners for the first time in the show's history. Well done, you two. And, oh, God. Oh, God. Not Patricia Heaton, a millionaire. Sadly, the video of it got taken down. Thanks a lot, Sony.
Here I am.
Oh, you're here. Great.
All right.
Well, we can do one more if you want.
I already know one that is obvious. The Family Feud fails, where the three-letter animal.
That's probably on here. I want to see that next. Wait, you watch Game Show Garbage too?
Nah, I just remember when I saw the site. That was the first thing in my mind.
Wow. Let's see here. What do we go to next? There's so many things to watch. So many things to look at. Oh, this one here. This is a good one.
Yeah, I saw this one as well.
The Regis Phil and Kelly Ripa puzzle. So, a special Armed Forces Week show. The celebrities pictured at the top of the page were subject of a proper names puzzle. After some spinning, we get this far along in the puzzle, and Shane decides to solve the puzzle. Regis Philbin and Kelly Ripa. Thank you, Roy. Regis is a television icon. A television icon! I don't know how you could get the name Philbin out of... Wait a minute. Let me just take a step back. Maybe Shane was just nervous. Maybe the lights just got to him. It happens to the best of them, right? Right, Georgie?
Yeah. Nerves.
It happens to the best of them. Don't beat yourself up. Don't be too hard on yourself. Okay, so if you spin and change the turns take place, the puzzle gets to this stage. George decides to solve the puzzle. There are no more vowels left here. Regis Philbin and Kelly Ripa. I think that's a historic first. First time game show garbage induction has necessitated phonetics to convey the pronunciation of a word. After consultation with the judges, George's answer is not accepted due to mispronouncing, see also butchering, Kelly's last name. Dueling high face palms. Another historic moment for us at GSG. So now Shane, with 38.50 in the till, has a chance to redeem himself. I'd like to solve the puzzle, please. Regis Philbin and Kelly Ripa. Hat trick! Nice. Personally, after seeing such an astonishing trifecta fail, I'm acting like Steve Harvey would after a perverted answer made some boredom Family Feud. I'm doing everything I can to refrain from letting loose the words that George Carlin made famous. So it's over to Lee. He fills in the rest of the puzzle, and now all it's left to do is read, right? As Pat might say, what do we got? What do we have there? Regis Philbin and Kelly Ripa. Ripa? Contagion is that game show garbage. Run for your life. Pat, hearkening back to his days at Vietnam, threatens to waterboard the next incorrect solve attempt. Okay, I made that part completely up, but it would have made for interesting television. George got another crack at it and nailed the pronunciation of Regis and Kelly's last names. Screw the phonetics, you know how they're pronounced. These three fine men who serve our country proudly just served up one of the zaniest moments in Wheel of Fortune history. By the way, fun fact, Lee was also on Pressure Luck. Lee was also on the ABC version of Pressure Luck, and he did very well there. He won like maybe about $200,000 or something. In a post-mortem recap, our esteemed host quit the following. Regis, I think it's time you stepped aside and let a younger man step in. Perhaps this was the impetus for Regis leaving his daytime talk show. Oh, come on, Regis. It was just a joke. That's the spirit, Reg. Say, who invited Letterman to this induction anyway? Let's see what else we have.
Yeah.
I can do a couple more, and then I'll probably call it a stream.
Do some show, get some games.
Oh yeah, Family Feud's Bullseye round.
Oh.
Remember when they had this? Let's never have this again. Thanks. Anyway, Family Feud underwent one of the biggest format changes in the show's entire 38-year history in America. The daytime version of CBS would expand to a full hour as Family Feud Challenge, and the nighttime syndicated version will be renamed The New Family Feud. In the daytime version, with the expansion to a full hour, 2 new families would play in the first half hour, and the winner would play the returning champions in the second half of the show. Okay. Both versions playing for the standard $5,000 in daytime and $10,000 in nighttime. Yeah, the standard $5,000 in daytime and $10,000 in nighttime would be scuttled, and in its place would be a new game that could increase the amount of money that families would play for in fast money. What the new round would do to the game would, instead of giving it a much-needed boost, make it drag down faster to the depths of the ratings barrel before even more drastic changes would happen. So pull back your bow and arrows and fire at the target. It's time to play the Bullseye game. Oddly enough, the show intros with the new format has a nice graphic of an archery target with the number 3 answer and number 2 answer written shown, then a cliffhanger much like the ones on Make the Grade and Top Card. Then Gene announces the teams. Ray gives us the answer to the survey. It's nicely done and helps people get eased into the show's new hour-long format, all of The Price is Right. However, if I have to knock something, the new intro took longer than the old intro, which only took about 30 seconds. When this took about a full minute to a minute 15, which for a 42-minute show, in which you have to do the same thing again at the bottom of the hour, that does eat up time. I kind of agree. The setup for Bullseye was cool enough and made it stand out more. It completely covers up the entire board, giving the feeling of a brand new set, even though we know it's not so. Right above Ray looked like a monitor. So they could display the amount being played for and the correct answer should nobody get it right. So we get a good intro, good look for the new game, and even the podiums that now flash Family Feud and the Bank Money look good. What could go wrong? Well, the execution of it all. Let's get started with the game. Ray brings up the first two members of each family and asks a question worth $500 or $1,000 for the bank, depending on the version. If you want to get the money, the contestant must get the number one answer. If they're successful, that money gets added to the bank. If not, their opponent gets the chance. Next, two people from the families come up and play for $1,000 or $2,000, and so on and so forth, until the last one, which is worth $2,500 or $5,000. It sounds like a good idea, but the problems lie in this. Before Bullseye, the format would have used a $5,000 fast money for the first half and $10,000 for the second half. Instead, we're now playing for cheaper stakes in an hour-long format, and the only way to get back to even par is either win the last one or two, sometimes three of the first four. The maximum in this format is $10,000 or $20,000, and only a few people did it for $20,000, and only one team won the $20,000. And that was on a Roseanne versus Jackie Thomas show where Tom Arnold won the $20,000 for Gary. This makes the program seem cheaper than it was just last season in a half-hour-long format. More often than not, contestants will play for the rest of the grand prize for that. But that's not my biggest issue with Bullseye. The biggest problem with it was it took so long to play. Bullseye, along with the long rope, would go on for about 60 minutes, around a minute or so longer than it did the season prior. Which means the rest of the show had been edited down like hell. The show had to be edited to reach its life as a result. The rest of the show seemed compressed to get in 3, sometimes 4 rounds in a new single, double, triple format, and sped up fast money with proceedings can take less than 2 minutes and taking out any drama. Remember when I talked about the 400-point format last year of Richard Dawson's run as host? Well, this is their idea to add more to the show. Instead of adding too much game, they added more money and a broken mechanic to reach that money plateau. The show would be canceled in 1983 on CBS, so all that was left was the half-hour syndication on show in 94 when the ratings and everything else was corpsing. Wait, Family Feud is corpsing? And for the man! And that they did. Yeah. Richard would come back in September of 94 with the old Opryland set used to kick off the 93-94 season, but redesigned with bluegrass rather than the clear ones used in the special. It felt jazzed up and I liked it. The music got reworked as well and it felt like a new show. What was also brought back was the Family Feud Challenge format where 2 new families would play against either a champion family or family from Dawson's old version of Feud. One of the things that Richard didn't like was Bullseye, so they worked out a compromise. The bankroll round. The 2 teams in the first half were still staked $2,500 to start, but to speed it up, only one member of each family would play the 3 bankroll questions. First being $500, second $1,500, and the last one $2,500 for a maximum of $7,000 in the first half and $14,000 for the second half since all were doubled. I like the faster pace of the format, which also works with Dawson's hosting style, and it made the contestants more the star and gave them time to properly razz a truly terrible answer. Unfortunately, the elephant in the room was still the cheating payouts. I could talk about the new use of CGI being the new board itself, being the new board instead of an actual board, but to be fair, the graphics look great. It was kind of disappointing to not have the flip cards again in Feud 94, but the new graphics used for that look good too, and that style of board and graphics are used today with only a maximum of 8 answers instead of usual 12, and the big circle and number in the middle. Yeah. Unfortunately, that did little to help with the cause because of sagging ratings and competition from the 20,000 talk shows and court shows covering the massive O.J. Simpson trial that were on at the time. Family Feud would see its second cancellation of syndication in 1995. But the story doesn't end there because in 2009, to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the current run of Family Feud, the producers announced that they brought back Bullseye for a potential $30,000 jackpot. They went back to the Raycomb style of Bullseye, but with modern technology being what it is, used a different program for Bullseye went on. And to be honest, it looked more mediocre than the stylish graphics of Feud 94, the impressive looking board of Raycomb's Bullseye. Families were staked $15,000 each, and the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 key format was used for a maximum of $30,000. The best part about Holy's Bullseye was the rapid pace it was using. They fit in Bullseye and the pre-tape family intros in the same amount of time it would have taken them to do one question in the TV season, so they didn't suffer from being too pressed for time like the Combs version did. The elephant in the room is still there, though, that in that the minimum was still less than the previous season's flat grand prize of $20,000. However, to counter that, this was also the season that started the rule that if the team won 5 games, they won a brand new car. I guess the $20,000 plus car would have been the trade-off for Boston giving a Bullseye. Unfortunately, ratings were also starting to sag, with broad up hints that we'd see the last of Family Feud. We also saw the show itself was corpsing with the announcement that John O'Hurley, the host that breathed a little life into an aging show, would be leaving to focus more on other ventures. Wait, the show is corpsing again? Send for the man! And boy, did they ever. And we get this man. And then, of course, we get this Steve Harvey Family Feud, and it's been going on, and the rest is pretty much history, right? Yeah, the rest is pretty much history. Steve Harvey brought Family Feud back to its rightful place where it belongs. Went back to a good format that worked: a single, double, triple, 2 singles, a double, and a triple, and then sudden death if no team reaches 300 points. He dumped Bullseye, kept the 5 wins for Carl, and allowed him to yuck it up with the contestants. And of course, all those funny moments get posted on YouTube. And they truly show the show is still viable. It just needed a host that made all the funny and none of the additional gimmicks that played O'Hurley's last season. Yeah. By the way, this is dated now because I believe Steve Harvey's Feud doesn't have 5 wins per car anymore. Now I think it's a trip somewhere, or is it just one? Or is it just an extra bonus? Or is it just an extra cash bonus if you win 5 games? I think it's an extra cash bonus now. Yeah, they got rid of the 5 wins for a car rule.
изпълнява новия удар. Първи от онази страна. Пак нещо случило за Нюкасъл. Удар, който е блокиран. Още един, който е блокиран. Карабак оцеля отново. Тонали без...
Yeah, the 5 wins for Carl is gone. Now I think... Yeah, the 5 wins for Carl is gone, I believe. Now I think it's a cash prize. Now I think it's a cash prize. Yeah. Yeah. In 09, yeah, so here in 09, a new car. If you win 5 games in a row, you win a new car. May 2024, they changed it to a $30,000 cash bonus. They changed it to a $30,000 cash bonus in May of 2024, and now September 2024, it's $10,000 cash and a vacation. Yeah, that's what it is now. And we'll do one more, and then we'll call it. Here's Yahtzee. Here is Yahtzee. Great shakes. It's a crappy match game clone. Yeah, no cruddy. Yeah, no crud, Sherlock. Yahtzee was a fun game to play when you were with your family and just wanted to have a good time. I remember when I was younger. My brother, mother, and myself would play Yahtzee. Yeah, even having to be one of the few to buy more scorecards, seeing how long and how many times we played the game. There was a Yahtzee game show that aired in the late 80s, and ugh. It's not very good because it's on Game Show Garbage. Peter Marshall's the host. Does usually a great job here, except for Rail. He not only is he host of the show, he's also one of the producers of said show. I don't know what other shows he's produced, but if this show is anything to go by, he needs a little more producing. Sadly, it's probably one of the only good things about the show. Flanked by his announcer Larry Hovis, not only on screen, but he also produces the show. I really don't like him as an announcer on the show. He also does his best to emulate Shadow Stevens. Not only that, he always seems to wear the stupid helmet, so maybe he could give commands to the booth without being heard or anything. But honestly, it just looks dorky and not very pleasing. Gameplay itself is where the show goes pretty much off here in spreadsheets. Basically, a bad match game family feud form. 2 teams of 3 compete, which has a gimmick, so think the way Hot Potato had contestants before they decided to screw that up and make it Celebrity Hot Potato. See, I don't know how, but adding celebrities to a game show kind of ruins it, in my opinion. I mean, look at Millionaire. Millionaire had like only one season where they had like workers. Where they had like that one season, Jimmy Kimmel Millionaire. It was 2021 where they had like oh, it's only showing the top 10. What, he wanted like essential workers and small business owners as contestants? That was the closest we've had to like actual regular average Joes. When you watch Millionaire, you watch Millionaire to try and see average Joes try to answer increasingly difficult questions to win life-changing amounts of money, right? That's what Millionaire is. And now that's gone, and now it sucks. And yeah, basically a match game, but it sucks. Yeah, that kind of sucks.
Should we do a game show or something?
No. Besides, I gotta end early. I'm gonna go for a walk.
What would you say to a offer of 656,500? One of them is 300 grand. The other one is the million. There's no switch. It's just go for it. Either go for it or say deal.
Probably take the deal, to be honest with you. But yeah, I'm gonna end the stream here because I gotta go back to walking later today. So, thank you all for watching this episode of JonesDylan874 Raw. We'll see you for another episode soon. Bye for now, even though there really was nobody here.